Hello, everyone. Today, I'm very excited to have a repeat visitor, Jacob Westover, who is from the University of Kentucky. And I've known Jacob for a handful of years. He's so well versed in everything Kentucky. Every time I talk with you, Jacob, I learn something new and exciting about UK. And so I'm excited that you could join us today virtually. I know it's not the same as us meeting in person, but fingers crossed that hopefully sometime in the future we will be able to do that again. So I will let you take it from here, Jacob.
All right, thanks, Kristina. So yeah, thank you everyone for allowing me to present to you all today. So like Kristina said, my name is Jacob Westover. I am one of our terrific admissions counselors here at the University of Kentucky. My specific territory is pretty much all of Northern and Central Ohio, which encompasses a lot, but I specifically target the Columbus, Cleveland, and Toledo regions. So I'm really excited to be with you all. So the first thing that you'll see here on the screen is my contact information. So especially as we are working in this new virtual setup, do not hesitate to contact me at all if you have any questions. My email is there, and then you see two different phone numbers. The first one is my Google Voice number. So as I work off campus a lot now, that phone is pretty accessible. You can call or even text that line if you need anything from myself. And then the second one is my office phone number. When the occasional trips into the office, I am there. Feel free to ring that. It also forwards it to my personal phone, so you can get in contact with me either way. But yeah, I'm excited to share with you all just a little bit about UK. So we'll kind of just start diving in a little bit. So the first thing that I wanted to always talk about with UK is that we are truly a place where everything is achievable, as we like to say. So up here, you're going to see just some quick facts about UK. And I'm going to move this down just so you all can see that a little bit better. So just some basic facts that everyone should know is that here at UK, we have about 38,000 students. Actually, we just topped our enrollment this year to 31,000 students, which is very exciting. So of that, it's about 22,000 undergrads and then about 8,000 graduate students. So another big thing I love to share with y'all is that our student to faculty ratio is about 16:1. A lot of times people affiliate large schools and universities with bigger classes. And while that is the case in some of your different areas and coursework, for the most part, your classes are going to be contained. So you're going to get that individual attention with your professors, with your teaching assistants. You're going to have that good one-on-one, genuine conversation with your peers. So that is really exciting to know. And just some other facts that I love sharing with you all on there. We have an exploratory studies option. So for students that might be undecided or not sure what they want to do yet, you can come in as exploratory. And we offer that in about 9 of our academic colleges, whether that's business, engineering, etc. And another big thing is that our education abroad and our research. Now, obviously this year, education abroad is kind of shuffled around a little bit to where we can't necessarily do abroad trips this year, but in a normal year, and hopefully when we get back to it, education abroad is something that we really strive on. About 19% of our students end up studying abroad at some point. So if you feel like that is important to you and you want to get that experience, those opportunities are there. And with research, we are a Research One institution. So every single major in our colleges offers research opportunities. So if you want to start as early as your freshman year, again, you have that opportunity to really help excel yourself. So a lot of great academic components to the university. And another big thing I love sharing with y'all is that we are only one of 8 institutions, one of 8 in the entire nation that offer most of these complements of certain degrees that you see here. So like liberal arts, engineering, our agricultural campus, our professional schools, they're all on one contiguous campus. And you can see over to the right, all of our academic colleges and units right there. So you might be asking yourself, well, why does that really matter, Jacob? Well, in a lot of these programs, especially students, if you are looking at anything professional, whether that's pharmacy, medical, dental, etc., a lot of times you have things like clinicals, shadowing, observation hours, and that requires a lot of time and energy. And the nice thing about the UK is that it's all right here in your backyard. So a couple photos that you see up there is like our Chandler Hospital, our pharmacy school right there. All these are pretty much in the same vicinity that you're taking your regular course classes. You are eating in the dining halls, you're living on campus. It's all right there and convenient for you. So we really want to advocate that as well. And even if you aren't seeking any of those professions, knowing that everything is pretty much in one space provides that unique and beneficial circumstance for all of our students. So definitely something we like to strive as well. Now, one new thing I wanted to share with y'all is we do have some new majors that we added to campus this past couple of years. So biomedical engineering is something brand new for this fall. It's been highly requested and demanded. So we worked on that this past couple of years, so we got it approved for this fall. Public policy and African American and Africana studies is about 1 year old now. We started this last fall, so it's been in the works for a while again, but we're proud to have that on our campus. And then product design is another new one that we added for the very first time this fall semester. And that is housed within our College of Design, but it has a lot of great partnerships with our other colleges like engineering, arts and sciences, business. So we really wanted to also advocate and tell you that we are continuing to add new majors to our campus each and every year, which is really exciting for you all. Now, it wouldn't be UK if we didn't touch on our athletics component, because a lot of people affiliate University of Kentucky with a big athletic school, and we definitely don't shy away from that. Here are just some fun stats that you saw from a couple years ago from our sports teams. So with that being said, I love talking about how UK is not just the academics, it's not just athletics, it's both. So you really get the best of both worlds. So if you're wanting to go to that bigger school that has that sports passion igniting with the fan base that really gets you pumped up to be a Wildcat, you can find that here. But again, if you want to seize on those really extracurricular, enriching opportunities within your academics, you also get that here. But also just love showing you all, we are also the Big Blue Nation, as our fan base is called. So that's something that you, again, can look forward to when you come down here at UK. Okay, so now we'll quickly dive into the admissions process. So I know seniors especially, this is a very interesting year for you all. We want to try to make it as simple as possible. So here you see our two different tracks that students can apply through at UK. You can either apply early action or regular decision. Now, for the most part, I encourage students to apply early action. As you'll see, this deadline in particular coincides with our admissions deadline, but also our academic scholarships and competitive scholarships, and our Lewis Honors College. So if students, you are looking to apply for any of those scholarships or the honors program, you do have to submit your application by December 1st. The second track is regular decision, but that is just for admissions, as well as a couple other external scholarships, and that deadline is February 15th. But again, I really encourage you all to focus on that December 1 deadline. And then eventually, as you get into the later application cycle with your housing and dining, that's February 15th for early action or May 1st for regular. And then housing and your prepayment and to register for your orientation would be May 1st, as a lot of schools typically do a May 1st deadline to kind of confirm your enrollment.
Jacob, can you talk about the application process to the Lewis Honors College, what that entails, if anything?
Yeah, absolutely. So students and families, if you're wondering, so when you apply for the honors program, on our application, so no matter which one you use, whether it's the Common App, our online portal, Coalition, you will see a checkbox on our source of the application that says, click here if you want to apply for competitive scholarships or for the honors program. And once you click that box, it will then prompt the essay for you to fill in and respond to. So the nice thing is that a lot of these scholarships that I will also touch on later on in the presentation, you will already be applying for in your admissions application. There are only a couple external ones where they may require a separate application, but honors and competitive will be in the admissions application.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So as far as what to submit, so I kind of hinted on this already, but we have 3 different application sources. Again, you can go to applyuk.com for our online application, the Common App, which is pretty popular, and then the Coalition. So whichever you use, it does not matter to us. When you apply, there is an application fee that you will have to submit. We do also require that official transcript. So students, a lot of times you can work with your counselors on getting that sent over, or folks like Kristina to help you work that navigation process. And you can also contact me if you have questions about that as well. Now, new for this upcoming fall, so for our rising seniors, our seniors right now, when you're applying, we do have a new test optional policy. If you Google UK-wide test optional, you can read a little bit more about it. There's an FAQ section, but we did want to make that known that if you are applying to UK, we do have a test optional policy for students who may not want us to consider or look at their test scores. Just know that that is an option for you. Again, kind of given the circumstances for this year, we wanted to go ahead and implement that. Now, I will say we are still working out some details, students and families, so some things related to scholarships and some of our selective programs that typically require that ACT component or SAT, those are still being evaluated, and we've been told hopefully sometime as we go through these next few weeks, we'll have some more decisions, so definitely check back with myself or on our website to get that information. And on the application, I know sometimes college applications scare a lot of y'all, and believe me, I was in the same boat. I was like, oh my gosh, that seems like a lot to put down. But we really are just wanting to know more about you. And who doesn't love to brag about themselves? I know I do. So really, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your test scores. You know, we do care about both inside and outside of the classroom. So your GPA, your test scores, the strength of your curriculum, if you're taking AP classes, IB, or any kind of CCP, College Credit Plus, we want to know about that. But just as important are going to be things outside of the classroom. So be sure to list your extracurriculars, any leadership skills, your roles in the community, and also the essays. We do have an admissions essay and an essay, like I mentioned, for honors and competitive scholarships. That's a really important component as well. Now, obviously, I will say this year, you know, it's going to look a little different for some students, just again, due to our circumstances when it comes to involvement and extracurriculars. And we understand that, but we just want you to really put yourself out there to kind of give us an essence of who you are. And as far as test scores, GPA, we don't have a required minimum for admissions. I will say the averages tend to be about a 25.8 ACT, SAT is about 1196, and GPA is about a 3.77 weighted. So again, those are just averages, not requirements for admissions.
And are you tracking demonstrated interest, Jacob? How much do they love you? Does that matter?
Yeah, great question. So to be very transparent with y'all, demonstrated interest is really not high on our scale for evaluating a student's application. We tend to look at, again, the whole picture. I mean, obviously we always encourage students to visit campus if you can, meet with a faculty member, meet with your recruiter or admissions counselor. All that is great, but I wouldn't say that's going to be the pinnacle point to where we decide whether or not a student gets a scholarship or vice versa. So we really are just looking at you as an individual and a couple other things like your curriculum, your involvement, your essays, but demonstrated interest really is not going to be high on our scale. So just something to keep in mind going forward. But great question.
And then one more question in terms of activities and also, I guess, two questions. So thinking of extracurricular activities, and like you mentioned, this time is very weird and, you know, not typical for most students, but I would say this is one of the things that's driving a lot of anxiety amongst our students is, you know, I'm not able to do the things that I normally would be doing. How will colleges view that? What is their expectation about what I am doing? What would they like to see? Do you have any words of wisdom or advice for students who are stressed about that piece of it and thinking about their activities and how they've changed?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, the biggest thing I can say is that for a lot of times students, if you have prior experience, whether that was in your, you know, let's say freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, especially, you know, make sure you put that first. I definitely encourage y'all, if you have any prior experiences, to really put that down. And also keep in mind, that especially, you know, when we look at involvement, we care a lot about depth as opposed to breadth. So sometimes students may feel like, oh my gosh, I have to put 10 things down. Otherwise, it seems like I might be lacking in that area. But for the most part, when we look at your application, I think for us, it stands out more if we see that maybe you were involved in 2 to 3 organizations, but you stuck with those organizations for some time, as opposed to maybe jotting down, you know, 10 to 15 different organizations to perhaps fill up spots. So I will say, you know, and again, I think we are going to have to really be careful on how we evaluate applications, and we're going to have to keep that in mind, but definitely really emphasize your past experience and also keep in mind that depth component. So if you had an organization that you were really involved with, let's say for the first 3 years of high school, and maybe you did a leadership role, you know, really put that on there. Tell us about that, because again, that's going to help you make you stand out. And I definitely, again, and I keep in mind that involvement also looks different to everybody. So involvement could be school clubs and organizations, but involvement could also be work. Involvement could be if you have, you know, babysitting, if you do, if you've made sandwiches for the shelter that's down the street. Involvement looks a lot of different ways. So we don't want you all to think that it's just one component of student involvement. Just keep in mind that it does range from a lot of different areas. So anything that you would think is involvement will probably be involvement to us. So definitely put whatever you can. And again, I think we are also going to be really cognizant of that and work with students going down the road.
That's good advice. Thank you.
Yeah. So just to touch a little bit into the finances part. So the first thing I want to point out to you all is our academic scholarships. Now, if you go on our website for our scholarships this year, they are finalized for the ones that require a GPA and test score. Now, as I mentioned with the test policy option, we are currently evaluating what that may look like. for scholarships for those students. Again, we are hopefully having those decisions made in the coming weeks, so just check back with us. But just to kind of give you a breakdown of our main scholarship programs, we have academic scholarships you see on the far left. The one that is specific to out-of-state students is Bluegrass Spirit. That scholarship will typically start at a 25 ACT or a 1200 SAT and a 3.0 unweighted GPA. The next two competitive scholarships are Presidential and Singletary. They are eligible for both in-state and out-of-state. Typically, they start at a 31 ACT or a 1390 SAT and a 3.5 unweighted, and there is that essay component. And then the selective scholarships, so for any students that, specifically Patterson, this will be the one that's pertinent to you all. If you took the PSAT and you qualify to be a National Merit or National Hispanic finalist, we do have a scholarship for those students as well. And then here are some other opportunities. Our William C. Parker Scholarship is a wonderful, excellent scholarship, one that I was fortunate enough to receive as well. So I encourage you all to check that one out. Departmental awards, so if you're wanting to go into agriculture, engineering, business, some of those programs offer scholarships as well. And this is where I said, just to be sure that look at the website, because some of these do require separate applications. And then a really great program that I encourage you all to check out if you're applicable is our Legacy Tuition Program, which is specifically for out-of-state students. If your parents or step-parents graduated from UK and are life members in our Alumni Association, there is the potential to have some scholarship money come your way as well. And again, this will all be on the website, so you can Google UKY scholarships. And again, just check back with us when it comes to those test optional choices for students. Again, we'll have those decisions coming through. But another big thing, obviously it goes without saying, is the FAFSA, so the free application for federal student aid. So seniors, that does go live October 1st. So again, not to say that you have to be right on your computer to fill it out, but we want you all just to be mindful and cognizant of that as well, because it is need-based, but it also is kind of on that first come, first serve basis. And definitely reach out to our financial aid office if you have any questions about FAFSA. They will happily walk you through that process. Okay, so now we're going to touch a little bit about the campus living and the campus life element, which is very important, I think, for students to know about. So living on campus is definitely one of the things that we stress a lot for students. Now, a unique thing about our university is that we do not require it for freshmen, but I would say close to 90% of our incoming freshmen will stay on campus, and with good reason. Here are just some bullet points as to why it's important to be on campus. Now, obviously, again, campus this year does look a little bit different in terms of how we've done things. You know, with COVID, we have given each student their own individual bedroom, so nobody's sharing anything. A couple residence halls have to be closed for quarantine purposes. So again, COVID has kind of altered that a little bit, but in a normal year, and hopefully again, once we get back to what things would look like, living on campus is great because you are taking connected classes together with your students, you are engaging with your faculty, your peers, your professors' offices are right there on campus. You really build that sense of community. And a lot of times we see that students earn their degree quicker when they live on campus because they're making better grades. So therefore they're matriculating into graduate school a little bit quicker. So there's a lot of different things, but also our campus is pretty modernized and has a lot of great amenities for students. So, you know, just to kind of give you a quick snapshot here, we've added 6 new room types in the past about 12, 13 years now, which is pretty, we've added about 13 residence halls in just the past 7 years now, got the reverse, which is pretty phenomenal. And a lot of these residence halls have, again, a lot of modern amenities. So I'm talking granite countertops, double vanity sinks, memory foam mattresses, microwave and fridges are included in all rooms across campus. And all of our rooms are suite style, meaning that your bathroom is in your room. So if you could picture with me, my freshman year, we had common residence halls, the common bathrooms, and I know that kind of grosses people out, but it was a lot of fun. But we do not have those anymore, so everything is suite style. So it is a pretty luxurious benefit of being on campus. And in addition to our campus, you see there on the left-hand side, we have what are called 13 living learning programs. So this is a magnificent opportunity for you all to really start building that community your freshman year. If you are interested in living with other students that are like-minded like you, whether it's the same major, background, interests, you can apply for one of those programs, and if admitted, you then live with those students for your freshman year and you take connected courses together. You'll do shadowing opportunities in different professions, volunteering, community service, social outings, things of that nature. So for example, you know, there's one for engineering students, one for healthcare students, business, There's even one for first-generation students. So a fun fact about me, I am a first-gen student. So neither of my parents went to college, so I was the first. And the process for me was a little bit overwhelming just because I didn't have that support system necessarily. But being in that program for the first-gen students was a great advantage for me. And I loved it that I stayed for 3 years in that program. So that was my personal experience, but you get the idea that, again, these are really beneficial for students to be a part of as well, if you're interested. Okay, now we get to one of my favorite slides ever. I love talking about this slide because Lexington, that's where we're located, Central Kentucky, and being a Ohio recruiter, I love, getting people's thoughts on Lexington or what they think of in Kentucky, because sometimes it can be mysterious as far as what people think of, but I love talking about us because Lexington really is kind of a blend of all city life, and it's my lovely background behind me. But Lexington is about 330,000 people, so we are what I call a college town, meaning that we are not going to be that big city metro feel, but we also aren't the middle of nowhere rural area. We are kind of a small city is what I kind of describe this as. So you get the elements of being in a city, but you also get the suburban life and you also get the rural area. So just some quick stats there. SafeWise ranked us the 3rd safest city in America, which we really appreciate. And also US News and World Report ranked us the best, number 29 best place to live in America, which again, we really appreciate. And with that being said, we also have a lot of different other accolades. We are the horse capital of the world, if you all didn't know that. So circling Lexington, there's over 400 different horse farms in the region, which may not be your gig, but I'm telling you, once you come down here, you will really, really feel the horse spirit. And also, being that we are in Lexington, that's really really where you start to see that Southern culture and hospitality. So if you probably hear my accent, we probably have a little bit of an accent down here. We say y'all a lot. We love our Southern comfort food and sweet tea. Oh my gosh, we could talk your ear off about sweet tea. So you really start to feel that culture as well. And like I said, you get a little bit of everything. So our campus is more in the urban setting of Lexington. We really are about 10 minutes from downtown Lexington. So it's very easy to walk to. You can walk there. You can ride the tank buses, shuttle services. But then if you get just outside the suburb or the city, you get the suburb areas, and that's where a lot of students like to do their shopping. We have a lot of beautiful shopping centers, one that we just built in the past few years. For those who are familiar with Legacy Village up in Beechwood, that's kind of what it resembles up there for you all. So kind of comparison. But then as you get outside of that, that's where you start to get into that rural area. But that, like I said, it's just horse farms and it's beautiful. So it gives you those rolling hills, that countryside scenery, a lot of great Instagram opportunities for pictures. So yes, So you get the idea. And just because we are in kind of the Central Kentucky region does not mean that we don't have things to do. We have farmers markets every weekend. We have Thursday Night Live in a normal year where we have local music and food vendors stop in downtown Lexington. We have Lakeside Live, which again has local musicians come and play. We bring a lot of big name celebrities to Lexington. So folks like Taylor Swift, Janet Jackson, Dierks Bentley, Thomas Rhett, Ariana Grande, all those people have been down to the Bluegrass State. So believe me when I say that there are going to be things for you to do in the Lexington region.
I feel like you could have a side gig as like a representative for the Lexington Visitors Bureau.
Yeah, well, it's really funny because one of my colleagues, he actually used to work with us in admissions, specifically the orientation side. He now works for our Visit Lex company. So he basically works with different partners and contenders on having events hosted in Lexington. So if you think he is like truly Lexington galore, everything. He could tell you like all about the limestone, the rock in Lexington because he's so passionate about it. But yes, I love talking about it. And I love this slide as well for you all because being out of state, obviously, sometimes there's a fear of, am I going to know people? Am I going to have people from my neck of the woods? And the answer is yes. Ohio is by far our most popular out-of-state region. And you can see there about 1,700 students are currently at UK that are from Ohio. And I think what's really unique about specifically the Cleveland region, which I recruit, is that I think it is one of the fastest growing regions to get a lot of interest in UK, which is really exciting. But yes, you're going to meet people from your area. You're going to meet people from all 50 states. You're going to meet people from hundreds of different countries. But we wanted to let you all know that, yes, you are going to have people from your neck of the woods. And if you see that about 33% of our students come from out of state, so 1 in 3. which again, is pretty special knowing that even though we have a large majority of in-state, we also have a very, very, very good size amount of out-of-state students. And especially, I think for you folks up in Cleveland, if you are, trying to get transportation, we do have a lot of airports in the area, one in Lexington, one in Louisville, about an hour west of us, and one in Northern Kentucky. But Lexington is also about a day's drive to about 2/3 of the country. So a lot of times students want to do weekend trips. If you wanted to go to Atlanta or Nashville or Cleveland or Chicago or even, New York, you get the idea. I mean, we are a day's drive for a lot of those major cities as well. So we are in a really, really centralized location, which is awesome. And then really my last slide that I wanted to talk to you about is just about getting involved. So any university will tell you this, and UK is no different. We stress the importance of involvement for a variety of reasons. It really makes your quintessential college experience that much more impactful and enjoyable. You really get to capitalize on those leadership roles or opportunities, and you just get to explore what interests you. And at UK, we make that pretty available for you all because we have over 500 different clubs and organizations. So I guarantee there's going to be something for everybody, whether it's Greek life, student government, intramural sports, club sports, or if you want to be a little bit more specific, you can get into the squirrel watching club, the Bigfoot hunting club, the Quidditch team. I'm sure there's a Beyonce lovers club. I didn't start it, but I would have if I could have. So you get the idea. So there is something for everybody. And if you don't see anything that sparks your interest, you can start your own club organization. It takes you, a couple students, and a faculty member, and easy peasy. So there you go. But just aside from the different clubs and organizations, UK has a lot of different events that we host throughout campus as well that we really take pride in. So for example, we host pancakes every Friday evening at midnight, hosted by our Christian Student Fellowship Center. Dance Blue, which is probably our largest student organization on campus. It's a 24-hour dance marathon that we host every year to raise money for our children's hospital for cancer research and treatment, to having guest speakers on campus like Viola Davis, Morgan Freeman, Anderson Cooper, Trevor Noah. So believe me when I say that even on campus, there are going to be a ton of things to do. Again, some of that is obviously going to be modified this year to address all the circumstances, but just know that our Student Activities Board and all of our organizations are working to make your campus experience that much more fulfilling and richer. So that is pretty much my presentation for you all. Again, I really appreciate taking the time to come and chat with you all, and I really want to thank Kristina for allowing me to come and speak with you all as well. I wish you all nothing but good health and safety throughout these next few months, and seniors especially, and anybody who is interested, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm here to help, especially now that I have a little bit more time at home on my hands. I am pretty accessible whichever way you need. So thank you guys so much, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Jacob. This was great and really a very good overview. And I think one of the best takeaways, I think, for a lot of students and families would be actually the part you just mentioned in terms of the personal connection piece, which I think, as you mentioned at the very beginning, sometimes when people look at a large institution, they assume that equates to impersonal. And I would say that I have found that to be exact opposite of what my experience has been with everyone that I've interacted with from the University of Kentucky. And my past students as well have found that they've been able to get questions answered very quickly, connect with people. So I thank you for being so forthcoming. If students want to do some kind of virtual visits, is that all that information is available on your website, I assume?
Yes, ma'am. So if you go to visit.uky.edu, that takes you to our visitor center page. Now, we are offering some in-person visits through our visitor center. Obviously, they are very small and capped. So if you are looking at dates, I would recommend looking early as possible to capitalize on that. But we do offer virtual tours that our tour guides will host, and also just some virtual info sessions if you would like. But yes, all that will be on our visitor center page where you can go. Awesome.
Well, thank you for taking the time. I know you guys are busy, and we wish you the best as well as you navigate this crazy, crazy time in our world. And anybody interested in the UK, please reach out to Jacob or his colleagues and explore the great things about it. It truly, I want to get down to Lexington now, truly, after you've given that great overview. So, but thank you again, Jacob. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, Kristina.